Welcome to a spark of awareness. We live in a time where we are constantly being stimulated, prompted by systems, by algorithms, by AI. But when we outsource our answers, we slowly give away our authority, our inner voice, our self-mastery. Conscious leadership has no shortcut, no hack, and it can only begin from within. It is the courage to stop escaping and to sit with what's alive and present inside, even when it's very uncomfortable, but that's where growth is. And this podcast is a space for that. This podcast is an evolution. And every week, I will share a 15-minute human prompt, live, non-performative. It is a moment of reflection drawn from my work in conscious leadership, from the journeys of the leaders I coach and accompany, and from what is moving in a collective film of what is humanity and leadership. I am Sophie Vaux, a conscious leadership coach and guide of transformation. I support leaders who are crossing the threshold right now from the old system of leadership, a legacy, into a deeper, more conscious way of being. If the traditional model no longer resonates, know that you are not alone, and that is your weekly practice. This is your time with your inner world. This is your weekly spark of awareness. Welcome. Dear listeners, I'm evolving the Rise and Play podcast. This is the time. Over the past 4 years, your support, feedback, and presence have meant very much to me. And through this work, we've explored the leadership lessons of more than 150 founders, CEOs, and leaders in the gaming industry. And the podcast reflected the journey I was living myself as a gaming executive and leader, learning alongside my peers. And now I am evolving, and so is this podcast. Last year, if you have followed my journey, I fully crossed a threshold in my own life and identity, and I stepped away from the role and the structure of gaming leadership and into my full path as an entrepreneur and conscious leadership guide, where I support leaders as they cross their own threshold from confinement, old scripts, duty, identity, into self-mastery, freedom, and truth. And from this work, I have also founded Orin, a sisterhood of conscious women leaders who are crossing the threshold and are doing this in group and in beautiful awareness. And I also now accompany many CEOs and leaders in one-on-one through that deep transformation. So the podcast will now become a reflection of this path and of the evolution I am witnessing in the leaders I work with. And so to reflect this transition, the podcast is shifting into a new format. And let me be clear here, I want to respect your time and mine and offer something that is meaningful, grounded, and truly valuable for this time. There's already so much content competing for our attention, and I don't want to add more noise, distraction, or information to consume. And instead, this podcast will become a practice, a weekly discipline, a pause, a moment to step back, reconnect, and ask yourself the right questions, the same questions I work with the founders and leaders I coach. And each episode will be between 10 and 15 minutes, what I call a human prompt, where I share what is alive in my work with leaders, the patterns I'm observing, because they are repeating over and over again across hundreds of leaders I've worked with. In the end, it is about being human and its human patterns. And you will get the wisdom that emerges from real journey of transformation. Maybe you're in yourself and need support. So this content will not be pre-planned, and it's definitely not an AI prompt. It is a human-to-human conversation and drawn from everything that I'm learning with my clients and with my own experience as an entrepreneur. It's an invitation to cross your own bridge from a legacy, expectation, maybe a legacy of company or your self-story, to more agency and your inner freedom and truth. And the first series I will open next week is about self-sabotage patterns in leadership. The patterns I've identified across more than 200 leaders I've worked with. And it's so funny because they appear again and again. And I thought it is time that I actually reveal them, because it's going to make my work easier, as we can start from the same basis. And you can also benefit from them without having to go through this yourself. And that will help develop your self-awareness, which is the first step of transformation. So the first pattern we will explore in my first episode is the disconnection from intuition. Because many leaders are externalizing their wisdom, living primarily in the intellectual mind, and losing more and more the connection to their inner voice. I hear every week, I would say even every day, people who are outsourcing their authority to ChatGPT. They can't even think for themselves. They don't even know how to listen to themselves. And they are, I would say, letting that muscle die by outsourcing it more and more to a machine or to others. And when intuition is discarded, distrusted, businesses and the leaders as well in them become flat. And we see businesses that are built from trends, comparison, imitation, instead of authenticity, conviction, something that is true and original. And this is what is going to emerge in an era where everything is mostly likely produced by an AI. And in this era, people will not seek for more information, but they will seek for what is real. They will seek truth. So in each episode, I will share concrete experiences from my work with clients, from my own journey, and other reflections and practices you can use to transform your patterns at your own pace into self-mastery. The main thing I'm asking from you is discipline. You don't need more knowledge. You need commitment and discipline. And that's the work I do in my coaching. This is my invitation. So if you feel you are standing at the edge of a threshold, something needs to change. You are entering a new chapter of your life, asking yourself whether the way you are living, leading, and spending your time is still true to you. This space is for you, and you are not alone. If you're here to continue to consume content without accountability, this podcast is evolving to a place that it's not going to be aligned. So it is really for leaders who are willing to do the work. And this is my 15-minute coaching practice for free if you really want to do the work, but maybe are not in a place yet to work with a coach. So I'm very excited to introduce this new evolution, this next chapter of this podcast. This is a spark of awareness. I look forward to being with you there. See you next week. Thank you for tuning in into this weekly reflection, the weekly spark of awareness. After this episode, I invite you to take a few moments with yourself, even just 15 minutes, to sit with what resonated, to breathe, and to notice what is shifting inside. This is a practice, a discipline of presence, truth, and self-connection. If this work speaks to you, I accompany leaders in one-on-one journeys and group experiences of transformation, supporting them as they cross the threshold into a truer and freer way of leading and living. If you feel called to explore this path, I would love to hear your story, and let's connect. Sending you love and courage, and have a great week ahead. This is my spark of awareness.